Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got another fun one for you today. This was actually requested. Got a little button here. We're going to pop up a mega menu from it. But we've used icons to build our little menu here, as was requested by somebody. Really easy to do. We've done this mega menu before, pop-up, but we've not done it with an icon list like this. So let's get started. I'm going to close this down. We'll get rid of the button and the menu and we'll start from scratch. Okay, well, let's enable the visual builder. And I'm going to go down and get rid of the button and the actual menu itself there. Okay. Now, if you want this menu to work on all pages, I suggest you build it into a global header or a global footer like we did down here with this contact form. But I'm just going to build it on the page here to show you how to get it started. First thing I'm going to do is add the button that we want to use to pop it up. I'm going to hit the little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to use a regular section. I'm going to put a single column in my row. Funnily enough, I'm going to use a little button module. There it is right there. Give it what you want it to say. And you'll notice I'm not going to put a link in below. I'm not going to put anything down there. If I put a hashtag or anything in there, when they click on this, it's going to roll to the top of the site. So I'm going to leave it just like it is. Over in design, I want to pop it in the middle. And we'll just make it slightly more interesting. Let's go into the buttons, still in design here. Use custom styles. I'm going to make my text white. Disappeared into the white background there. Let's give the button a blue background. And perhaps when they hover over it, we'll make it turn orange. To do that, just hover over the dark writing where it says button background there. We've got a little arrow. If you click on it, it's going to give you two tabs. Desktops, when the mouse is not on it, we'll leave it blue. Hover, if you click on the hover tab here, we can have a completely different value. Perhaps make it orange when they hover over it. Great. Well, there's our button taken care of. How easy was that? Now let's create the actual menu that we want to pop up with this button. I'm just going to get rid of the space top and bottom on this section. Don't need it quite as wide as that. So I'm going to go into the section, the blue tab. I'm going to go over to design and spacing. I'm going to put a 0 in the padding top. It'll put in the px for you for the pixels. Hit the chain, it'll do the bottom as well. That takes that padding away from that blue section. Great, well, let's actually add our mega menu itself that we want to pop up from this button. To do that, we'll hit the little blue button again for a new section. Make sure you don't put the button in the same section as your mega menu, it won't work. Put in as many columns as you think you'll need for your mega menu. I'm going to use a blurb module for mine today. I'm just going to leave that in there. Let's go and give our little pop up the background that we want to give it. So again, I'm going to click on the section, go into the section, the blue tab. Background, I'm just going to make it black. I'm going to click on the color field and just drag the opacity slider down just a little bit so that when it pops up over the content, you can have a hint of that content down behind it. Great. When this pops up, that'll make more sense. Okay, well, let's go back into our little module now and make it into a menu item. We're using the fantastic blurb module. We've done a whole video on the blurb module because it's such a useful little tool there. Let's say home. Obviously, you'll have a list of menu items. Don't want any content in there at all, so I'm going to select that, delete it completely. Just see the home there. I'll change the color of that writing in a moment. Image and icon. I want to use an icon rather than an image for this. Funnily enough, I'm going to choose a home icon for the little home page there. There it is, right there. Well, let's sort these out so we can actually see them. If we go over to design, image and icon, I want mine to be blue. Not going to put a background color. I want it to be on the left-hand side. I want it to be about 20 pixels. I think that'll work. And again, when they hover over it, let's make it turn orange perhaps. To do that, go back up to our color, roll over. There's our little arrow. We got the blue. When we hover over, let's change that to orange also. Fantastic. We'll flip it back to the blue. Let's go to our text now. We'll do a similar thing. Just click on the paintbrush attached to it. It'll take you right there. Again, I'm going to use the default blue. Make it a little bit smaller. I think the 16 is the default for menu items here. I want that to be sort of a little more centered within our little icon there. So we can do that with line height. Just drag it to where you want it. That's great. And again, we'll change that text color to orange when we hover over it. Fantastic. Now, I'd like to see my text a little closer to the icon there, but that's entirely up to you. If you want to do that, a little line of code we can put in. We go over to our advanced, to our custom CSS. In the module elements here, if we roll down, we've got our title. So if we give it less of a margin on the left, we can drag it closer to our icon. So let's say margin, dash left, colon. Let's do negative 15 pix. I think that's what I used before, 15px. That drags it a little bit closer to our icon. I like mine like that, but that's entirely up to you. Great. Well, of course, you're going to want to link this to wherever it is, your home page, back in the content, and the link. I'd link the whole module, not just the title. That way, if they hit the icon or the home, it's going to take them somewhere. Just put your link in there to where you want to take them. And we're done with our first one there. Now we want to duplicate this for as many times as you want to duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate it, 2 little squares to duplicate. Now the first thing I noticed there is they're way too far apart. So let's go into the top one. We go over to design, spacing again, to my margin this time. Let's put a 0 on the bottom there and see what happens. I think that'll do. That's about as close as I want them. Obviously, make it more if you want them further away. But I think the 0 is going to work for me. Great. So now we've done that, we can get rid of the one we put in here. And we'll recopy the one with the correct settings this time. Copy it for however many times you want to copy it. I had about 6 in mind, I think. And then you can go into the next one. All you need to do is change the title. And we'll change the link down here, obviously, to where you want to take them. I think I might make that semi-bold, that writing. Let's just go into it. Here's the title font. Wait, let's make that semi-bold. I like that. So let's extend it to the rest of the styles here. To do that, if you right-click on the title text up here, extend title text styles, all blurbs within this column right here will extend. Now they're all semi-bold like that. Fantastic. Okay. Well, now you've got it duplicated once. Let's see, we want to go in there. Change out the icon. And rinse and repeat. I'm not going to sit here and have you watch me do all of this. I'm going to get this done. We'll pause the video. All right, well, I've continued on through and I've just added all the other links I want on my menu. Obviously, you can make it as big, as complex as you want. Now, if it's really big, you're going to want to be able to scroll it on mobile devices. So if you want to do that, go into the section itself. We'll give it a fixed height in design. Let's perhaps give it a minimum height. We'll try 350 pix. I think that's going to work. Then if we go over to advanced and visibility, we got horizontal overflow. I'm not worried about that. I'll leave that on the default. Vertical overflow. If it's on smaller devices, these are going to stack. So you may want to scroll. So we're going to change the vertical overflow to scroll right here. Fantastic. That way on smaller devices, you'll have a little scroll bar over here. Great. Well, how are we going to make this pop up? Really easy. Elegant Themes has written a bit of code for us. I'll put this URL down below the video for anybody that wants to do this today. If we roll down this page, we've got some CSS code about halfway down. We want to copy it the closing curly bracket there, all the way to it says body at the top here. Make sure you get everything. Control C to copy. I'm going to go to my Divi dashboard. Going to go down to Divi theme options. That will take us to this page. Under the General tab, we want to roll down. You'll find a custom CSS box. Now mine's already got the code in here, but yours wouldn't have. Let's just repaste it in there. I'll delete what I've got there. And if you've got some code up there, just scoot it down, put your cursor up the top there, Control V to paste, and we've got our new code in here. Now it's always a good idea to give CSS code a title. That way when you come back, you can figure it out quite easy. I know what this is just by looking at it, but if you're not familiar with it, and if anybody edits the site after you, we can put a title in, /*, / anything written between the stars will not be read as code. So it's a great place for titles and notes and things like that. Great. And I'll take you through a couple of these in a moment to show you how you can modify a few things. Once you put it in there, make sure you hit your little Save Changes button until you get the green check mark up there. Then we're going to roll back up to the top. We're going to go to our Integrations tab. Still in the Divi Theme Options, Integration. And again, I've got mine here. Let's just get rid of that. Pretend like I don't have it there. If we roll down from our CSS, we've got a bit of JavaScript here. We need to copy it from the opening script tag to the closing script tag there. Again, make sure you get everything. Don't lop off any of those pointy brackets or things will not work. Again, Control C to copy. Going to go back to our themes options. This time, Integration tab. Add the code to the head of your blog. Just going to put my cursor in there, Control V to paste it in there. Again, once it's in there, make sure you save your changes. Now to make this work, it tells us over here that all we need to do is give the button that we want to pop up something from, class name of ETLB button -1, 2, 3, 4, however many pop-ups you got here. And to enable it to pop something up, you need to give the thing you want to pop up, in our case, our mega menu, a class of ETLB button content -1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So let's start with the button. Control C to copy that little class name right there. Going to go back to our page. Going to go into the button itself. Dark tab for the module. Over to Advanced CSS IDs and Classes. Make sure you put it in the class name, not the ID, because it will not work. I'm actually going to turn this into a 4 at the end because I've got a few other pop-ups working with this on the site. One that's in the footer that you saw earlier that's going to pop up this contact form. I know that's ETLB button 1. So we don't want to have that conflict. And like I say, you can put this button in a custom global footer or header if you want to. And that way it'll pop up on every page. Or you can store the actual section that it's in your library and just paste it on the pages you want it to work for. So we've got this as ETLB button 4. So let's go back now. We've got our button class name. Let's get our content for our mega menu, ETLB content 1 they've got. I'm going to change mine to a 4. Control C to copy again. Going to go back here. We'll go back up this time to our mega menu or whatever it is you want to pop up. Going to go into it. Going to go over to Advanced CSS IDs and Classes. Again, put it in the class, not the ID. Remember, we want to change that to a 4 because that's what we gave the button that we want to pop it up with. Now we've done everything correctly here. This should now work for us. Save our changes. We'll save our page changes. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's exit the Visual Builder. Here we are. There's our little mega menu button. When I click on it, it's going to pop up our little mega menu. We've got those little color changing hover effects going on. Like I say, I've got a fairly small one here. You can go to town and do whatever you want, make it as big or as small. But you see, with that background there, I've made it slightly opaque so you get a hint of the website behind there. And we got a nice little X up here we can close it out with. Now, if you want to change the color of that X, if you're using a white background, perhaps you're not going to see that. If you need to change the color of it or move the position of it, I'll show you how. If we go back to our CSS in the theme options under the general tab here, we put it in our custom CSS box down here. If we roll down, they got the color of the closing icon right there. You can change that from a white to anything you want. Let's just make it red. I think I did this the other day. Well, let's just make it blue. We've got everything else blue there. And if you want to move it, at the moment, it's right negative 1 viewable width. If you made that positive 1 viewable width, you can move it over. And the margin from the top is 51 pixels down from the top. So you could change that if you wanted it further down or less far down. And the font size at the moment is 46 pixels. So you can change any of that if you want to. Once you make any changes, make sure you save your changes so you get the little check mark there. Then we'll go back to this page. Let's just close that out and refresh. Now if I pop it up, we got a little blue X to close it out with at the top there. And that's a really nice little feature. As I say, we've done this before, but somebody wanted us to do it with this icon menu right here. So that's what we've done today. Let's just make sure that our contact menu we did the other day in the footer is going to work. And you can put this button in the footer as well as the contact form. There's our contact form. We did exactly the same thing with it. And they're working fine together. As I say, as long as you have different numbers on the end, like I say, I made mine a 4 for this particular pop-up because I know I had at least 2 other pop-ups on the site with both the button and the content here. And you can have as many as you want. As long as you increment that button up, they will not conflict with each other. So there you go, guys. There's how to create an icon list pop-up mega menu for your Divi site. As you can see, really easy to do. Really nice little feature to have. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo just like this one. And if you make something with this, pop the link down below. We'd love to see it. It's always great to see what people are working on. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.